Hello everyone. The video you're about to see is what happens when you try to tie a no-name fly from a high-standing kitchen table while sitting in a high-standing bar stool chair using a GoPro with voice recognition activated that keeps picking up certain key words and turning it off. Furthermore, the video you're about to see is done by trained professionals. Do not try this at home. I hope you enjoy the video. Key intro.
As we hit the waterways, we hope the fish will tag along. If they don't cooperate, we don't care if we stay too long. Find a spot that catches your eye, we make the perfect cast. As we get nibble on, we yell, get the net. Welcome to the bucket, where the boys will have a blast. Welcome to the bucket, as we ink another cast. With jokes and smokes and how do you do? You might learn a thing or two. Welcome to the Brad's Bucket Show.
Alright everybody, here we go. We are starting to get things stocked up for the Lake Murray, South Carolina trip this summer. It's different flies we're going to try. This particular fly I used on the last fishing trip of the year that me and my buddy took this year. This past year, 2021. And right toward the end of the trip is when I started pitching this out and caught the biggest bass I caught all summer. So, I'm going to stock up on some of these. Now, I don't know if there's a name for this fly. This is a particular fly that I had found at Eastern Fly Outfitters, just laying there in the bin that they just put together for big trout. And the dumbbell eyes that was used on this fly is just so heavy that with your standard 8 to 9 weight rod, I mean, I couldn't get it to turn over. It was looping under itself, nailing me in the shoulder and back of the head. So instead, I ended up actually tying some more of these and using a bead head, brass bead. Where's my brass box? Oh, wonderful. It's sitting here. So pardon me while I do something here. Now, I used to tie from a roll top desk. I had everything set up for tying flies on it, recording, and because of the lack of room where me and my wife ended up moving to, I got rid of it. So I'm here at the kitchen table. Hang on, I'll show you. Kitchen table city. So you see I've got all my stuff in storage containers, a glass of wine, and it's pretty much where I'm having to shoot from. So I mean, it's all good. Hopefully we can get this on video. And because I'm using my GoPro and I've got it voice activated here, if for some reason, well, I can't say the words or it'll do it. So I had to get it going again. We'll just say that. So right now what I'm trying to do is line up my hook. I'm using my phone. There we go. And unfortunately, I can't raise the seat up any higher. So without further ado, here we go. Now, first thing we're going to do, is we are using a gold bead, using some of these little eyeballs. Here's the gold beads. Couldn't really tell you what size they are. They're small. So we're going to get us one of these gold beads, and we're going to get it on the hook. This hook, if I look at my hook gauge, it's not a super long shank, but about a medium shank, and this is around a size 2 hook. So we're going to take the bead, we're going to put the hook on the bead. The bead's kind of slick. Got to find the hole in the bead. There we go. Now the barb will try to stop it, but it's okay. It will if you just force it just a little bit. It'll go right on. Okay, so there's that, and then what we're going to do is we're going to start our thread on here. Now, the trick to using these beads is you want to keep it tight up against the eye of the hook. So what I'm doing here is I'm actually creating a taper. It's going to be thicker up front than it is toward the back. And that taper, I'll just keep doing that until I get it pushed up against the eye of the hook really well. And I just keep working my way back, working my way up to the front, and you will see the taper start to develop. And I have noticed I'm going to need to get me another desk or table lamp. I really need more light if I'm going to do this at a kitchen table, because I got a lot of flies to tie before our Lake Murray trip this year. I'm just going to keep doing that. Stop, check. It's starting to get tight up against the top there. Just keep going. And then by the time we finish this fly, it will be tight, and you'll see. Okay, so we've done that. And then we're just going to go ahead and we're going to wrap on back to the barb of the hook here, and that's about where we're going to stop the wraps, because with this type of hook you're going to start getting into the bend. Okay, so next thing we're going to do is we're going to use white, yellow, and crystal flash gold. This is Fox bucktail. It's made by Fish Skull, and this is synthetic. Now you can use regular deer hair. In fact, I would prefer regular deer hair, but I don't have regular deer hair. So we're going to use this synthetic. This is actually what I caught that bass on. So you're not going to take a big old clump of this stuff. You want a decent tail to come off the back, but you don't want just a lot of bulk. It will not look that well in the water. And so that's about the size of the clump that you're going to use. We're going to measure this out about the length of the hook shank. And then we're going to tie it in. When we tie it in, I'm going to kind of lay it down at an angle like so. And then I'm going to take my wrap around. And then another wrap. And then I'm going to start pulling it tight. And when I do that, it's going to actually roll it on top of the hook. If you try to lay this right on top of the hook and do it, then it's not going to roll right. And then I'm just going to take this right on up the hook shank here, so I can get a lot of these tied in. And again, for some reason, this GoPro it done something I didn't want it to do. So once you've done that, you're going to pull these up, snip off the excess, continue to wind. And here's one of the little tricks. I'm going to start taking this behind my tail. And you'll notice when I do that with each wrap, it starts pulling it back up. I don't want it dropping down. I want it to be straight out. So what you're doing is you're building a little bit of a bubble behind it for it to lay on. And there you go. Now, at this point, you're going to notice a little bit of a hump. That's where we're just going to take our thread and we're going to start going back and forth, and we're going to build that shank up. So that's about the same thickness all the way across. In other words, we're taking that taper out. So we're just going to keep doing that right there, and that's slowly disappearing. And that should be enough because it is going to be covered. So we're going to go back to the hook. And now we're going to use, you might as well say it's Cactus Chenille Pearl. Clip me some of that off. And we're going to tie this in toward the back. And you're also going to see this is a really simple fly to tie. So we're going to tie that in. Work our thread all the way forward, not all the way. You're going to leave yourself just a little bit back because you still got to tie some stuff in. Then you're going to start wrapping. Now, the trick with this stuff, every time you wrap, there's a wrap. You're going to sweep them fibers back, and you're going to keep them wraps close and tight together all the way up to the front. And again, sweep, wrap, sweep, wrap. And if it seems like my vise is a little unsteady, it's because I got it sitting on a stack of index cards to try to give it a little bit more height to line it up with the GoPro so I can get this. And I think the next video I'm going to really turn the voice recognition off on this thing because it keeps going OFF. Okay, but we're going to stop short of the front there. We're going to go ahead and tie that in. We're going to snip off the excess. And we're going to dress up the head here. And you see I'm continuing to build a head up on this thing, and you'll see why here real soon. Okay, so got that done. Next step, I'm gonna get my yellow fox bucktail, again made by Fish Skull. I'm going to cut off generally the same amount of a clump. And when I measure this out, I'm going from where it ties in back to where it ends on the tail. So it's going to have to be longer naturally. So about right there. And we're going to tie that in. And again at an angle, and then when you start pulling it, it's going to rotate that right on up to the top of the hook shank. And it did a pretty good job. Might have to tweak it with my hands there just a little bit. There we go. And then we're going to trim the excess off. We'll trim that back as far as you can. Build up the head just a little bit more before you build it up too much. Crystal Flash Gold. and a sip of wine. Going to get your Crystal Flash Gold. You're going to take 3 pieces of this. Now, you're probably saying 3, that's not much. Well, it's about to be, because what we're going to do is we're going to fold it over, and then we're going to fold it over again. Except when we fold it over this time, well, hang on. Yeah, right. Let me see. Sometimes everything don't work out as planned. There we go. Okay. We're going to take this. We're going to go right around the thread. Right like so. See? Everybody see that? Just went right around the thread. Going to come down, keeping it right on top, and we're going to tie it in. Now what I'm going to do at this point, if I can keep it steady, hang in there, Vice, we're almost done. I'm going to just simply cut the loops out, and then I'm going to cut it to length. Now you don't want to pull. And I want to make sure that it's all up here, laying well, looking good before I cut it. I'm just going to kind of look here. That one needs to trim back just a hair. And I'm going to finish dressing this down. Finish building up the head on this thing. And try to cover in all this gold, making a nice black head there. Go, looking good. Whip finish. Six turns on the whip finish. Yeah, I think what I need is one of those little GoPro desk tripod things. That'd be perfect for this. All right, and there we go. Now, here's why we're building up that head the way that we are. First, Sally Hansen's Hardest Nails. Put a nice, good, liberal amount on the head of this. And then I'm just going to show you what I do. Hang on. This is getting old real quick. Okay. All right, what I do is, you can see these eyeballs on this thing. I super glue them. So, you pull it up close. Now maybe you see it better. And see, these are jiggly eyeballs. It's those eyeballs that the little thing on the inside jiggles. So that's why I want to build the head up to match the thickness of the eyeball, okay? And you know, I'm not going to make you sit through the whole process, because sometimes you got to let super glue set a few minutes. But once I get done, I just simply unlock my vise. I turn it sideways so it's dead sideways. I put a drop of glue. I take the little eyeball, put it on there. I let it dry. Then I flip it over, a little drop of super glue, little eyeball, let it dry. Then when I'm done, stand it straight back up, and I put more super glue right smack dab so it kind of runs down in between the eyeballs. And then I do the same thing on the bottom, okay? and that will make it whole. Once it dries, it's rock hard. It's not going anywhere. So that, except for the eyeballs, is the finished product. And that's what I caught that big bass on last year. I'm actually going to give it its due this year. I'm going to throw more of it, and we'll see what happens. So that is how to tie the no-name fly. That's just what we'll call it, the no-name fly. So thank you for watching. Take care. I'll see you next week on the tying vise. We'll be tying up something else in preparation for our trip. And I should also be posting a video tomorrow evening. Big morning plan, fishing a pond, known to hold big bass. It's cold. It's in the 30s here, low 30s. So I don't know if they're going to be lethargic, what we're going to be running into. But I'll definitely have the camera rolling. We're going to be filming it. And I'll be putting it here on the channel tomorrow night. Thank you for tuning in to Brad's Outdoor Bucket Channel. Thank you to all our subscribers. I appreciate the hell out of every single one of you. And I appreciate you watching. So, keep tagging along, man. We got a lot more to come. Take care. Pray for your country. Good night. As a wrap up, I would like to add, Brad's Outdoor Bucket Channel is not responsible for anyone who tries this at home and procures injury upon themselves. Have a great day.
As we hit the waterways, we hope the fish will tag along. If they don't cooperate, we don't care if we stay too long. Find a spot that catches your eye, we make the perfect cast. As we get nibble on, we yell, get the net. Welcome to the bucket, where the boys will have a blast. Welcome to the bucket, as we ink another cast. With jokes and smokes and how do you do, you might learn a thing or two. Welcome to the Brad's Bucket Show.